Hello, inner shifters, how you doing? Your host, Sophia here. You know that feeling when you're running on fumes? Maybe after a late night work sprint or a Netflix binge that accidentally turned into a sunrise. And suddenly your throat gets scratchy, your head feels foggy, and life seems to demand way more energy than you possess? Yeah, I used to wear my sleep deprivation like a badge of honor, too. I'll sleep when I'm dead, I'd joke, gulping my fourth coffee of the morning. Then, during a particularly brutal flu season, my doctor said something that changed everything. You don't get sick because of germs. You get sick because your exhausted immune system rolls out the red carpet for them. Let me take you back to my rock bottom moments. It was 2 a.m. during a startup crunch week, and I was mainlining energy drinks while debugging code. By dawn, my hands were shaking. By noon, I was curled under my desk with a fever that spiked so fast I half believed I'd been cursed. That week in bed gave me plenty of time to research how sleep, or lack thereof, had set me up for disaster. Turns out, while you're drifting through dreamland, your immune system is throwing the most sophisticated defense party imaginable. T cells, your body's elite virus assassins, actually stick better to infected cells when you're well rested. Natural killer cells, the special forces of your immune army, drop by 70% after just one night of poor sleep. No wonder I kept catching every office cold. But here where it gets magical. Sleep doesn't just strengthen defenses, it turbocharges your vaccines. A groundbreaking University of Chicago study found people who slept well after a flu shot developed twice the antibody response of their sleep-deprived peers. My nurse friend Sarah witnessed this firsthand when her hospital mandated nap pods for staff during COVID surges. The vaccinated nurses who napped had stronger, longer-lasting immunity, she told me. It was like watching science give us permission to rest. Now, I'm not saying this transformation was easy. My first attempts at sleep hygiene felt like trying to lull a hyperactive squirrel into a coma. I'd lie in my meticulously dark, cool bedroom, brain whirring through every embarrassing thing I'd ever done since 1993. Then I discovered the game changer, the 90-minute rule. Since sleep cycles run in 90-minute increments, waking at the end of one after 6, 7, 5, or 9 hours leaves you refreshed instead of groggy. The morning I woke naturally at 6 hours, feeling more rested than after 8 hours of fragmented sleep. I nearly cried with relief. The real turning point came when I started viewing sleep as active healing, not passive downtime. During deep sleep, your brain flushes toxins through the glymphatic system, a process so efficient it reduces Alzheimer's-related proteins. REM sleep, meanwhile, acts like emotional chemotherapy, stripping painful memories of their sting. My insomniac uncle proved this after his PTSD therapy breakthroughs only clicked once he prioritized sleep. It's like my brain needed offline hours to install the updates, he said. Here's the radical truth no one tells you: sleep is the original biohack. Those fancy IV vitamin drips, your liver does that for free at 2 a.m. That $100 immune-boosting supplement, your bone marrow manufactures superior versions during delta waves. Even microbe-fighting fever is just your body turning up the thermostat to cook invaders, a process fueled by sleep. So tonight, when you're tempted to trade rest for productivity, remember, every hour of sleep is a deposit in your immune savings account. And unlike crypto, this investment never crashes, it compounds. You know that moment when you open your fridge and it looks like a beige bomb went off? Tan bread, white pasta, brown coffee creamer staring back like a nutritional desert? Yeah, that was my diet for years. I treated vegetables like garnish, fruits like optional decor, and my immune system, well, it protested with 2 sinus infections a year like clockwork. Then one autumn, after my 3rd round of antibiotics, my doctor didn't reach for the prescription pad. She handed me a paint swatch card with vibrant stripes and said, Your immune system speaks in color. Start listening. It turns out those vibrant hues in plants aren't just pretty, they're coded messages from nature. That deep purple in blueberries, that's anthocyanin, a compound that boosts memory and calms inflammation. The fiery orange in sweet potatoes, beta-carotene, which your body converts into virus-fighting vitamin A. Even the humble white of garlic contains allicin, nature's antibacterial agent. My nutritionist friend calls this eating the Earth's original multivitamin, and when I finally tried it during flu season, the results were absurd. After 2 weeks of consciously adding 3 colors to every meal, spinach in my eggs, bell peppers with lunch, purple cabbage at dinner, my usual November cold never showed up. My coworkers jokingly accused me of secretly getting a flu shot. But here's the part that blew my mind. Each color family teams up like Avengers for your immunity. Red tomatoes, lycopene, protect your cells from damage, while green kiwi, vitamin C, helps rebuild them. Orange turmeric, curcumin, calms inflammation, as purple grapes, resveratrol, activate longevity genes. I witnessed this synergy with my grandma, who at 92 still tends her garden. Her secret weapon against every cold: a little of everything every day. Science now proves her right. A 2023 Nature study found people eating 30+ different plants weekly had gut microbiomes that produced more infection-fighting compounds than those eating just 10. Now, I'm not saying you need to suddenly start choking down kale smoothies if they make you gag. Been there, stained my shirt that. My rainbow journey began with adding, not restricting, throwing a handful of frozen berries into oatmeal, snacking on candy like cherry tomatoes, rediscovering the childhood joy of crunching sugar snap peas straight from the bag. The game changer, realizing spices count too. That golden turmeric in your curry, immune boosting. That rosemary on your potatoes, packed with antioxidants. Even dark chocolate hello brown contains zinc and iron. The most unexpected benefit, how this reshaped my relationship with hunger. Instead of craving salty or sweet, my body started yearning for color. My friend Mark, a former fast food addict, experienced this after joining a CSA Farm Box program. At first I was pissed there was no ranch dip for the rainbow chard, he laughed. Then one day I caught myself craving the bitter crunch of it plain. Who am I now? Here's the beautiful truth: eating the rainbow isn't about perfection. It's about noticing. That day you add radish slices to your taco or sprinkle pomegranate seeds on salad, you're not just feeding your body, you're teaching your immune system to speak nature's ancient language of protection. So tomorrow at the grocery store, do this. Walk the produce section like an art gallery. Let that emerald broccoli, those ruby strawberries, that sunshine yellow pepper call to you. Your immune cells already know what to do with them. You're just bringing home the supplies. You know that feeling when you've been sitting too long, maybe after a marathon work session or binge watching your favorite show, and your body starts sending increasingly dramatic signals? First a gentle ache in your lower back, then stiff knees when you stand, until finally your hips creak like an old wooden floor? Yeah, I used to ignore those signals until my body staged full-blown mutinies. Then one rainy Tuesday, my yoga teacher said something that rewired my brain. Movement isn't something your body wants. It's something your body is. Let me take you back to my rock bottom with movement. It was 2018 and I was the queen of excuses. Too tired. Too busy. Too out of shape to start. My idea of exercise was packing while brainstorming. Then 2 things happened. First, my doctor told me my sedentary lifestyle had given me the spine mobility of a 70-year-old. I was 32. Second, I adopted a hyperactive rescue dog named Bolt who demanded 3 walks a day. Within weeks, something miraculous happened. My chronic tension headaches vanished. My digestion sorted itself out. I slept like a stone. When I mentioned this to my physical therapist, she didn't even look up from her notes. Of course. You've stopped treating your body like a storage unit for your brain. Here's the radical truth science is shouting, but we keep ignoring. Your body isn't designed to exercise, it's designed to move constantly and diversely. Those 10,000 steps, based on a 1960s Japanese pedometer marketing campaign, not biology. Our ancestors walked 5-10 miles daily just to survive, squatting to cook, reaching to gather, carrying water. No wonder a 2023 JAMA study found that replacing just 30 minutes of sitting with casual movement slashes mortality risk by 35%. My friend Carlos proved this after switching his desk job for a nursery job. Within months, his prediabetes reversed despite eating the same foods. It turns out my pancreas needed squats more than salads, he joked. But here, where it gets magical, movement doesn't just prevent disease, it actively heals. Every time you take a step, your joints release synovial fluid, nature's WD-40, and your bones get denser. A stretching triggers the lymphatic system, your body's detox hype. Even fidgeting counts. A University of Leeds study found restless people burn 350 more calories daily than their still counterparts. My Aunt Marie, who survived 2 cancers, swears by her 5-minute mobility snacks, tiny movement breaks every hour. Chemotherapy wrecked me, she says, but dancing while microwaving tea saved my range of motion. The mental health benefits hit me hardest. During a brutal breakup, I forced myself to attend a beginner's salsa class, flailing disaster. But somewhere between tripping over my own feet and laughing till I cried, I noticed something for that hour I hadn't thought about my ex once. Later, I'd learn why exercise increases brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, essentially fertilizer for neurons. A 2022 Harvard study found regular movement as effective as antidepressants for mild depression. My therapist puts it simply, you can't think your way out of trauma. Sometimes you have to walk, dance, or box your way out. The breakthrough came when I stopped seeing movement as exercise and started treating it like breathing, non-negotiable, varied, and deeply personal. My artist friend Nina swims. My neighbor Joe does Tai Chi with his grandkids. My cousin's workout is building elaborate Halloween displays. All that matters, they move with joy. So if you're feeling stuck, try this. Next time you're waiting for coffee to brew, sway side to side like a tree. Take the long way to the bathroom. Have a living room dance party to one song. Your body doesn't care about reps or calories, it just wants to speak its native language of motion again. You know that moment when your to-do list feels like a treadmill set to sprint? Your shoulders are somewhere up around your ears, and you catch yourself holding your breath like you're underwater? Yeah, I used to live there. For years, I treated stress like an enemy to outrun, chugging adaptogens, downloading every meditation app, and berating myself for still feeling like a tightly wound spring. Then one Tuesday, mid-panic attack in my therapist's office, she handed me a potted succulent and said, "Your problem isn't stress. It's that you've forgotten how to be a human being instead of a human doing." Let me tell you about the day I realized stress wasn't my foe. It was finals week in grad school, and I was surviving on vending machine snacks and 3-hour naps that were really just anxiety coma. My hands shook so badly I couldn't highlight straight. Then my neuroscience professor, a man who studied stress hormones for a living, pulled me aside. Instead of prescribing deep breaths, he said, "Your body isn't failing you. It's trying to save you." That adrenaline sharpening your focus, the cortisol heightening your senses, they're gifts from ancestors who survived famines and tigers. Thank them, then redirect them. He taught me to reframe my pounding heart as excitement to share what I know and my sweaty palms as primal readiness. That exam, I aced it while feeling the stress instead of fighting it. A 2023 Yale study later confirmed this approach. People who view stress as enhancing rather than harmful have 36% lower cortisol spikes during challenges. But here's what no one tells you about stress management. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is doing less, not more. My rock bottom came when I developed stress hives so severe I had to wear gloves to type. My doctor, instead of prescribing stronger meds, assigned me the weirdest homework. For 1 week, spend 10 minutes daily doing something purposeless. Blow bubbles. Doodle badly. Sit under a tree and watch squirrels. I scoffed until day 4 when I caught myself laughing at cloud shapes like a kid. It turns out play isn't frivolous, it's neural alchemy. Stanford researchers found that engaging in non-goal-oriented joy lowers inflammatory markers better than cognitive behavioral therapy for some people. My friend Jamal, an ER nurse, swears by his post-shift ritual of building elaborate Lego sets. It's not about the toy, he says. It's about letting my hands remember there's a world where pieces fit together perfectly. The real game changer, learning that stress needs movement to metabolize. That tension in your neck after a brutal meeting, it's literally trapped energy waiting to be shaken loose. My therapist taught me to complete the stress cycle, a concept from Emily Nagoski's work, by mimicking my body's natural release valves. After stressful events. A trauma specialist once explained why this works. Animals in the wild tremble after near-death experiences, then move on. Humans get stuck because we think our way out instead of moving our way out. But here's the tender part. Stress management isn't selfish, it's sacred responsibility. My wake-up call came watching my mentor, a celebrated CEO, quietly have a heart attack at 52 from chronic overwork. During his recovery, he confessed, "I thought pushing through was strength. It turns out real power is knowing when to pause." And now he schedules white space blocks in his calendar labeled "doing nothing important." And his company's profits tripled within 2 years. So if you're feeling the weight of the world today, try this. Set a timer for 90 seconds. Clench every muscle as tight as you can, fists, toes, face, then release like a puppet with cut strings. That tidal wave of warmth, that's your body remembering its natural state, is braced for impact. You know that moment when you're hit with a scratchy throat or a grumbling stomach, and your first instinct is to reach for the medicine cabinet? Yeah, I was there too, until a bout of food poisoning in Morocco changed everything. Too sick for Western meds, my host grandmother handed me a steaming cup of something golden and fragrant. A drink, she ordered. A turmeric, ginger, honey, better than your pills. Skeptical but desperate, I sipped. Within hours, the storm in my gut calmed. That's when I realized the world's most powerful medicines don't come with child-proof caps, they grow in dirt and hang in dried bundles in kitchens. Let me take you back to my spice awakening. For years, I treated my spice rack like a decoration, cinnamon for holiday cookies, paprika for deviled eggs. Then I met Dr. Amina, an oncologist who prescribes culinary pharmacy alongside chemo. That oregano in your pizza sauce, she said. It's a stronger antibiotic than penicillin for some bacteria. She showed me studies where ginger outperformed Dramamine for nausea, where curcumin, turmeric's golden magic, reduced inflammation better than ibuprofen in arthritis patients. My skeptic's brain short-circuited. You mean my chicken soup was medicine all along? Here's the wild part, every culture's traditional dishes hide healing wisdom. Italian pasta sauces, loaded with basil, a natural muscle relaxant. Indian curries, turmeric plus black pepper equals 2,000% more anti-inflammatory power. Even your morning coffee benefits from cinnamon's blood sugar balancing act. My friend Carlos, a firefighter, swears by his adrenal cocktail of cocoa, cayenne, and maca after tough calls. It's like nature's energy drink without the crash, he grins. Science backs him. A 2023 nutrient study found capsaicin in chili peppers boosts endurance by 15%. But the real magic happens when spices team up. My darkest winter, battling seasonal depression, a Ukrainian neighbor taught me her sunshine tea, rose hips, orange peel, and a pinch of saffron. In Siberia, we pretend the spices are little sons, she winked. Turns out, saffron's serotonin boosting affects rival Prozac for mild depression, per Journal of Ethnopharmacology. That steaming cup became my daily rebellion against gray skies. Now I'm not saying to ditch modern medicine. When I broke my wrist, you bet I took those painkillers. But herbs meet medicine where it often fails, in prevention and gentle daily care. My niece's chronic UTIs disappeared after adding thyme tea to her routine. Its antiseptic thymol flushes bacteria. My uncle's gout improved dramatically with tart cherry plus ginger tonic. Cherries lower uric acid. Even my dog gets turmeric paste for his arthritis. The most profound lesson: healing doesn't have to be clinical. There's sacred alchemy in stirring honey into chamomile tea at 2 a.m., in crushing fresh garlic for pasta while pretending you're an Italian nonna, in the way cardamom makes your kitchen smell like hugs. So next time you reach for a snack, ask, could this be delicious and healing? That cinnamon on your oatmeal, blood sugar stabilizer. Rosemary on roasted potatoes, memory booster. Dark chocolate shavings, heart medicine. You know that moment when you're scrolling through your phone, mind buzzing with notifications, and suddenly you catch a glimpse of green outside your window, a tree swaying in the wind, maybe a bird hopping between branches, and for just a second, everything else falls away. That tiny pause, that involuntary exhale, that's your body remembering its oldest language. I didn't always understand this. For years, I treated nature like background decor, something to admire on vacation photos but ignore in daily life. My outdoors time was the sprint from my car to the office. Then, during the darkest year of my life, burned out, grieving, and utterly lost, a therapist handed me a single acorn and said, "Hold this until it feels warm." 20 minutes later, cupping that tiny, sun-heated seed in my palm, I cried for the first time in months. Not because anything was solved, but because I'd finally stopped. Stopped running. Stopped performing. Just was like the oak that dropped this acorn, like the clouds overhead, like the ants marching across my shoe. In that moment, I understood. Nature doesn't ask you to be anything but present. Here's the science they should teach in schools. Your nervous system speaks fluent green. Japanese researchers studying Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing, found that simply walking among trees lowers cortisol 16% more than urban walks. But here's the kicker, it's not just the fresh air. It's the phytocides, airborne compounds trees release to communicate, that also boost our white blood cells. A translation, the forest is literally talking to your immune system. My friend David, a combat veteran with PTSD, discovered this when traditional therapy failed him. On a whim, he started volunteering at a community gardens. At first, I just pulled weeds, he told me. Then one day I realized I'd gone 3 hours without a flashback. Now he leads veteran wilderness trips, teaching others what research confirms. Soil microbes, Mycobacterium vaccae, act like natural antidepressants by increasing serotonin. But you don't need a forest to tap into this. My niece, a stressed-out college student in a concrete dorm, bought a $5 succulent and named it Steve. Talking to Steve about my chem homework keeps me from spiraling, she confessed. It sounded silly until I read the University of Hyogo study showing that just looking at plants for 3 minutes reduces stress markers. Even my hardcore CEO client, who used to mock tree huggers, now keeps a bowl of river stones on his desk. Rub one during meetings, he advises. Instant zen. The most healing lesson, nature teaches impermanence. That time you skipped a hike because it was drizzling, only to miss the rainbow after. Or when you mourned a fallen tree, then noticed mushrooms thriving on its trunk? My mentor, a hospice nurse, takes patients outside to watch seasons change. Dying people always notice details the rest of us rush past, she says. The way light filters through leaves. How ants collaborate. It's not escapism, it's remembering what real life is. So if you're feeling untethered today, try this. Step outside or onto a fire escape or near a window. Find one natural thing, a weed cracking through pavement, clouds shaped like dinosaurs, the smell of rain on hot concrete. For 90 seconds, engage with it like it's the most fascinating thing on earth. Because in this moment it is. I thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and do all those lovely things you wonderful people do. I'll see you next time.